Welcome everyone to the show. I'm your host Don Vic. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's the vibes, y'all? What is the vibes? Woo. Um. Woo. Sheesh. First of all, I want to thank everybody that's about to join in and check out this great interview with John Potash. I hope I'm saying his last name correct, Potash. He is an actor, and he's also long lifetime animal lover and advocate. We're going to be talking to him about that as well. So he is also played in the movie Desert Fiends. So we're going to find out exactly what his part was in the film. But before he comes aboard, I want to shout out my peoples. Definitely you guys that tune in and watch the show. Big shout out to you guys. P3 Family, Parapost Network, and Global Hunting. Okay. Big shout out to you guys. Today was my friend Eric Randolph's wait. I couldn't make it. I was at work and I couldn't leave work because one of the guys didn't show up, so I had to back him up. So I'm very sad about that. I didn't get to go to his wake, man. So if you guys feel me a little strange, that's what it is. I really wanted to be there and support his family. You know, um, Good friend of mine, best friend. We grew up together, and I've been losing a lot of friends, man, back to back to back. If you guys been following me, for the past couple months, I lost maybe 5 6 people. Uh, so it's really been hard for me, to cope with all these losses that are happening in my life. Uh, which and it's also scary too, because it's my circle. It's my homies. We all grew up together, and you know they're dropping. You know, they're dying, and it kind of scares me because it touches home. But other than that, everything else is fine. Um, a lot of great things happening in my life, and I'm very, very um, grateful for that. Also, my brother David J. Paul just released his trailer from the movie The Mechanic, so you guys can tune in and check it out, and leave a comment, tell us what you think about the trailer. Also, big shout out to Tammy Smith. She's working very, very hard, producing so many movies. You guys can check out her page and check out her latest um, movie that she has worked on. Um, and also my brother Dennis Marlin, Holly Wallen, and his wife. My brother Matthew, as Matthew Clark and his wife. Working on another project. Um, Cody, Cody Fault as well with the movie Crow. Um, so there's a lot of stuff going on, guys. A lot of people working, and putting out films, which is amazing. And I'm happy. I'm happy for everybody, okay? Because everybody putting in the work. Okay, so finally I got my guest here on my panel, and we're gonna bring my guests in. We're gonna talk to John and find out what John been up to. Okay, so please welcome John Potash. Hope I'm saying his last name right. Please welcome John, folks. John,
Hey, how's it going?
good. How do you pronounce your last name? I've been fighting with it.
It's a potash, just like that,
Oh,
potash.
Potash.
Yeah,
Potash. Okay.
potash.
Okay.
Yep.
So welcome to the show. Thank you for giving me your time to come on the show and find out what you're doing.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad we were able to finally make it work.
Yeah. Oh, we make it work. We found one way to make it work.
Always.
Oh, you're right. So tell us how you got introduced to the film Desert Fiends.
So specifically with Desert Fiends, I just happened to, see the campaign up. I was in a number of different acting groups where I seen it posted, and I kind of thought long and hard about the whole process, and
Right.
eventually decided, hey, let's give this a go, and zero regrets. I'm so happy I did it.
Right. I did see you there. I just didn't know, what character you was playing, or when you was gonna be on camera. So what was your character like?
So my character was Laser. Basically, we had a small cult of alien watchers, and I was the leader of that cult.
Oh boy.
And I don't want to give too much away, but
Yeah.
I think the scene is going to be very amusing and entertaining. It kind of goes with the whole theme of the movie. Speaking of which, when I first arrived on set, which was 2 days early, thought come down, check things out.
Right.
The first thing I saw was you walking with your special pants up. So I started
Oh,
questioning, like, oh my God, what did I get myself into here? But yeah, it was a fantastic scene. I can't wait to see this all put together in the movie.
right. What was your feedback on the people you were working with? How was it working with the other uh actors that you was working with?
So this isn't my first movie scene.
Oh, okay.
Originally, I've been, in other movies, usually behind the scenes, providing snakes and other animals for film. So always behind the scenes. I have had a few in front of the camera opportunities on movies and tons, on like news sets and all that kind of stuff leading up to this. But I gotta say, this whole set, everybody involved with it was just incredible. Everybody was so welcoming. Really, very few people knew who the other people were unless they'd worked together.
Right.
This was all pretty much new to me. I don't think I knew anybody on the set coming into this, but everybody was just so welcoming and made everybody just feel at home. I mean, it's like we just felt like friends right off the get go, and it was quite an incredible experience, honestly.
Right. I mean, that's a great feeling to come to a location for the first time and feel that energy. You
Right,
know,
right.
feel the love. And it makes you feel more comfortable. I say it all the time. When you're on set with people, and if the directors and your peers are, you know, make you comfortable, then everything else falls to play.
It really does. And, I think the person I had the most interaction with leading up to it was Nicole. And she was always just amazing at answering my questions, no matter how crazy they were. She was pretty quick to respond.
Yes.
Um, and, she was she set the pace for this. And then, showing up, of course, she was all over the place. So it's not like you really got much time to
Yeah.
spend talking to her because she had a million jobs to do. But it didn't matter because everybody else, again, was just so accepting, and then just kind of like wrapped you in this family envelope right off the get go. It was amazing.
Yeah. And this being your first film, did you feel a little nervous?
Well, again, it wasn't actually my first film,
Oh, okay.
but it was probably one of the most memorization I had to do for lines.
Oh, okay.
um, but I spent the time. I went over it a lot because I got it well in advance, which was very helpful. And then, of course, I even met with some local acting coaches to kind of help develop the character, which really, I gotta say, I didn't feel terribly nervous coming into this. I felt completely ready to deliver my lines. And even though we did, we did what was scripted, and then we added some improv at the end. I mean, I'm kind of used to doing that in another TV show I'm doing. Hey, Nicole, uh, a web series, I should say, where there's a lot of improv. So, I mean, it just flowed. There was really little nerves at all.
Right. You know, now that I see you, I love the hat, by the way. I'm trying to get one that fits me good. You know what I mean? Because I'm really picky with hats. I wear hats a lot,
I
but
definitely understand. It took me a while to find this one and in the
yeah,
right size.
yeah, I love them. I love them. So, would you? I'm pretty sure you would, but I can see you playing a Western movie. I can
Yeah,
definitely
so
see you
I
playing that.
actually do have one of those coming up.
Ooh.
It's a kind of a neat mix of a 1800s western along with being a werewolf movie. Which,
Oh wow.
ironically, that web series I'm playing as a werewolf. So I'm kind of trying to tie these two, even though they're completely unrelated. Try to tie them together. This 1800s western is kind of going to be my origin story for the web series we're doing now. So it just worked out really well that way. I have definitely been trying to get into some more westerns, um, and generally what seems to end up happening is I end up getting cast as like a cult member. I've never had my beard this big before. Um, a lot of that really just started with actually my very first on-screen movie performance. I was helping out a director who was filming a series here,
Okay.
and he, was looking for some help, and it was my downtime, my down season. So I thought, why not? This sounds like a lot of fun. And of course, you know how that goes when you're there helping behind the scenes. Inevitably, you end up getting thrown on camera. So he asked, he said, "Hey, I need somebody for this role. Are you game?" I said, "Absolutely, let's do this." So. It's basically I was a scavenger, which is essentially these homeless people were rounded up, sent out to an encampment by the government, over time forgotten about. So we became scavengers. And so I get to chase one of the main characters down, have a fighting wrestling scene with him. And it was rather exhilarating. I knew about it about a week ahead of time. So I just kind of let this grow out a little bit more than I normally do.
Right.
And then that led to another scene later on in the movie, which again I don't want to ruin it too much, but it involved a rattlesnake and one of the other main characters. So that one I gave me about a month, so I ended up growing it out even more,
Oh wow.
and then that just led from one thing to another, and it always seemed to involve this look: the long hair, the long beard,
Yeah.
sometimes not as well groomed, sometimes quite shabby, and all that, but. Yeah, I'm definitely very much typecast, and honestly, I have no problem with that because it's ended up landing me numerous roles since
That's
then.
that's great. Nicole's asking what series? What's the name of the series?
So the web series is called Crystal Blood. It's the first 3 episodes are going to be on YouTube. Episode 1 is out now. I literally have like about a 10-second clip in it because they haven't told my story yet.
Okay.
There's a lot more involvement in episode 2, which should be coming out any day now, actually. And I'll be down in Las Vegas actually again in about 5 days, where we start filming episode 3. After that, not entirely sure where this is going to go. Is it going to continue as a web series? Is it going to become a movie? I don't know. The director's kind of leaving us all hanging on that one.
Okay. Okay. So what was the name of the movie again? So I can
Uh,
write it down.
the web series is Crystal Blood, with the one um, that we're talking about. The movie is called Senior Cut Days. That was my very, very first on-screen feature film. So yeah, that is on Tubi for free. So as a matter of fact, I just watched it again the other day
I
because
just
I've been working with that director to film number 2. He plans he lives in Baltimore, but he flies all the way out here to Nevada to film it because the desert just works.
right.
And this time there's a lot more involvement, so it's going to be a lot more backstory. I'll have bigger parts in it, hopefully. I'm kind of helping him with developing. Me and a few of the other characters are helping to develop and write number 2 right now.
Oh wow. You know what? It's funny you say you gave me that name because I watch Tubi, like I'm watching a movie now as well. But I scrolled by this movie and I looked at it for a second. The Senior Cult Days. and I was gonna hit the button to watch it, and my phone rang. So it just level. But I'm gonna go watch it now that you're on it. I'm definitely gonna watch it. You know, uh, senior
Yeah,
cult
senior cut days.
cut days, senior cut
Yeah,
days. Okay,
there, I'm typing that in for you.
okay, I got it.
Yeah, definitely though. Tell me what you think about that snake scene after you see it. It was just kind of one of those that was not scripted, but as I learned more about the movie and the background, and had a little bit of a role in it, I threw this scene out to the director, and first thing I asked is like, "Hey, how do you like dark humor?" He says, "I absolutely love it." So I pitched in the scene. He pretty much just let it flow exactly as I pitched it to him. And I thought it worked out really well. It's a rather surprising scene. So
That's great. Well, reading your bio and stuff, interesting. Like I didn't know that you was an advocate. You breed snakes.
yeah,
Yikes.
so
Tell me about you. You are the founder and CEO of this company.
yeah, well, so yeah, the one you posted up, a Wildlife Rescue Foundation, that was a while ago. I
Okay.
did found that, and I ran it for about 15 years, where I was just basically rescuing animals. But of course, along with doing that, there is a lot of educational opportunities. So I started doing a lot of programs at schools and libraries. I was on a lot of local TV, news stations, things like that. Just trying to educate people on these because, well, you know how most people feel about snakes, especially. That's my specialty, even though I work with all different kinds of animals over the years.
Right.
Um, so, I really became kind of what I consider myself as an animal welfare advocate,
Right.
because there's a lot of people out there who don't believe people should keep certain animals, and I try to just fight for the right to do so, but while also taking the best care of the animals that we can, hence the name animal welfare advocate. I got to say, probably as many times as I've had to sit in front of city councils, county commissions, state legislatures to testify, that really has helped me a lot in being in front of a camera and doing what I'm doing, except this is a hell of a lot more fun than that. um, But yeah, I've
Right.
always been into snakes. I've always liked snakes. I've been keeping them since I was a kid. We do have quite a few. My girlfriend and I that we breed and raise. In fact, we're just kind of preparing now for an expo this weekend. That's not too far from here, about an hour from here. We're going to have bunch of native rattlesnakes on display, native reptiles to Nevada, to educate people again, and maybe a few critters of our own to try and sell that would make good pets, not rattlesnakes, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, so
so
that's kind of my life.
so yeah, so you got exotic animals you deal with, reptiles, insects, venomous snakes. So you're big on rattlesnakes.
Yeah, so the way
Why
I actually
why rattlesnakes and not like cobras or pythons? Why
uh,
rattlesnake?
well, I do have a fair share of pythons. I am a big fan of them as well. Unfortunately, in the state of Nevada, I'm not allowed to have cobras at this time, so that's why not cobras. I have worked with them under different capacities with other people. Honestly, I really love working with them. They're a lot easier to work with than rattlesnakes. But my primary business, what I do for a living, what makes me money, is I do rattlesnake avoidance training for dogs. So we travel all over the western states. We set up classes. We'll train anywhere from 30 to 60 dogs in a day. Um, and we just essentially are training them to recognize and avoid rattlesnakes under different scenarios. So I keep quite a few. I think we have about 40 right now, because we love our snakes. They're team members to us. They're a member of our team. So we don't want to stress them out by using them too much. We usually bring 2 or 3 with us on a weekend that we can rotate out so they get breaks. And then we usually don't use them 2 weeks in a row. And then, of course, we have different species for different locations where we do the training, because some of it is kind of specific to different species, especially the scent portions. So, yeah, I've always just been fascinated with venomous snakes. That started from a very early age, and I got lucky that I met somebody who took me under his wing and basically mentored me. And when I told him I was interested in venomous snakes, the first things I got to work with were copperheads, because he had a museum before, so he had permits to have those. And those were the first ones he let me work with, and then it just kind of all blew up from there. Here we are 35 years later, and I'm still doing it bigger and better than ever.
So, what are some things that a person like myself, I don't know nothing about rattlesnakes, other than if I hear the tail rattle, I ain't supposed to be there. What are things that a person should look for if they're stuck, say in Nevada, and they're out, out there where we were? What are the things that they should look for?
So, I gotta say, I was a little disappointed in the weather when I was there. It was a little
Yeah,
cold because where we were was just beautiful prime habitat for snakes. It would have been great to find some while we were out there, but the temperatures just weren't working with us.
right.
Um, so basically, if you're out, rattlesnakes basically have four lines of defense. Their number one line of defense is camouflage. They just don't want to be seen. They don't want to be messed with. They want to be left alone. Their number two line of defense is if they're given the opportunity, they're going to quietly slither away. They usually have an escape route that they know of, and they're just going to try to go away if people are walking by or there's a lot of commotion. Once you hear the rattle, that's basically when you know you're too close. That's their way of saying, hey, I'm here, don't trample me. Historically, that they believe the rattle evolved with hoof stock here in the Americas. So again, they wouldn't necessarily rattle if food is coming by. They don't want to alert it. They wouldn't necessarily rattle if it's something that they view as a predator, like maybe a coyote or a bobcat. That's where the first two come into play. Humans, as a general rule, they just view us the same way as they would, a deer, elk, a bison. It's like, hey, I don't think that's a predator, but I don't want to be stepped on. So that's when they start rattling, saying, hey, I'm here, back off. And then, of course, the last thing they want to do is bite you. They will if they have to, but they really don't want to do it. So, what I tell most people is just watch where you step. It's not always a good idea to go traipsing through the brush where you can't see where you're stepping first. That's a good way to surprise a snake. Stay on trails, or just wear proper gear, because generally a rattlesnake's only going to strike maybe up to half its body length, so usually any gear that protects you below the knee is sufficient, if you are going to be traipsing through the wilderness like that. And if you see one, the best words of advice I can give you is just leave it alone. Most people get bit trying to interact with a snake. There's been studies on this, and it's about 80% of snake bites are due to what they call intentional exposure. Somebody choosing to interact with the snake, be it catch it, kill it, take a selfie with it, whatever it happens to be. That's when people get bit. If you see it, you just walk away, leave it alone. It's not going to chase you, wants nothing to do with you. Best thing you can do is just leave them alone.
Right. So a person that gets bitten by a rattlesnake, how long do they have to get to a hospital before they get critical?
So pretty much for all of our Western species of rattlesnakes, they refer to that first hour after you get bit as the golden hour. If you can get to a hospital, get treatment started, your chance of survival is extraordinarily high. Your chance of long-term damage is really low. After that, they kind of say time is tissue. So basically, the longer it takes you to get to help, the more likelihood there is going to be of tissue damage, because their venom essentially starts digesting your tissues. The longer it takes, the worse the outcome. Generally, most people don't die anymore so long as they get some treatment within the first few hours. It's pretty rare. Now, where we were out there in the Mojave, there are Mojave rattlesnakes. Those ones are a little bit more time sensitive because they tend to have a neurotoxin in their venom along with the hemotoxin. So that affects your central nervous system.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot more important that you get to help quickly. What I just tell most people is like treat every snake bite as a medical emergency. Do whatever you need to do to get to the hospital right away. Generally don't recommend driving yourself. The best tool you can have in your toolkit right now is your cell phone. Call 911. They'll send an ambulance or even airlift depending where you're located, and get you started on that treatment right away.
In your experience, in your 35-year experience, you've been working this for a long, long time, for decades.
Yes.
In your opinion, what snake is the most aggressive snake you've seen?
So I don't really like to use the word aggressive per se. Generally, it's defensive.
Defensive?
Yeah, like where I am up in the northern Nevada area, our species of snakes are pretty docile. I mean, I spent decades rescuing and relocating them out of people's yards and public places, and rarely did they even rattle at me. Even more rare did they ever strike. I just have equipment I use and hooks, and I'll hook them, put them in a container, and that's pretty much it. Now, when you get down in the south, the Mojaves and the Western Diamondbacks tend to be probably some of the more defensive snakes. They're going to be a lot quicker to react than some of the ones up in the north. And I would say probably, I could say the Mojaves and the Western Diamondbacks would be the most defensive species that we have here in the United States.
Which is the biggest snake you saw? Besides a python, like snake. Like what has been the biggest rattlesnake you've seen? How long was it?
I would say the biggest rattlesnake I ever seen is the Eastern Diamondback. They can get pretty good sized, 6 to 8 feet. The Western Diamondback does come in pretty close, though. I do have one big boy that's a little over 5 foot now, and he's only 5 years old. So he's going to be a big boy for sure. Again, up here in the north, it's rare to see one over 3 feet long. They're pretty small.
So you've done TV shows and some film bringing in some of your snakes.
I have. So my very, very first time doing that was on a movie called Nowhere, Nevada. And this was, gosh, I don't even know, going back probably, 15 years or so. And I got contacted from the director, and he said, hey, we want to do a scene with the rattlesnake. So they have this guitar that's kind of iconic throughout the movie. He's like, I just want to get it kind of a scene where the rattlesnake's crawling on the guitar. So we ended up doing that. Pretty simple scene to do. That ended up getting me kind of in contact with a few other people. So later on, I got contacted by the same guy who was filming that movie for a music video for Whitesnake. And they were kind of doing a comeback tour. And so they wanted a bunch of snakes in this video. So I provided, I don't even remember how many it was, probably a dozen or so.
Wow.
And I kind of just did that in trade for a commercial for my rattlesnake training for dogs, get rattled. And that turned out to be a really good commercial that we got made, just trading the labor. And then, of course, from there, just one thing leads to another. We've had numerous scenes. I got to work with David Blaine. They were trying to do some snake stuff. Unfortunately, their medical teams kind of poo-pooed a lot of his ideas. And I don't think that's ever aired. I never saw it air. But it was a lot of fun working with him for the day. Taught him how to safely pin them down and hold them. So I got a really cool picture with him. He's holding my big girl, and I'm holding a little Mojave rattlesnake next to him with the Vegas background behind us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We not that long ago did one for an Italian film. They came in from Italy. It's called Divorzio a Las Vegas. And there's a scene where they encounter a rattlesnake, and he kind of tries to Indiana Jones that down a little bit. We did another scene for a movie that hasn't yet come out yet. It's called Back on the Strip. And it actually has some big names. Of course, I didn't get to meet them in my little time there, but Kevin Hart's in it, Wesley Snipes, a number of people. But this is a scene at a wedding where they encounter a rattlesnake. I won't ruin where that's supposed to go. But yeah, I've done it. That just recently did a local movie up here that actually just had a great review come out today. So if you go to my Facebook page, there's a link to this review on this movie called Ghost, where we do a kind of a fun rattlesnake scene for that. And I again get to play a cult member in that.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of keeps growing. More and more opportunities keep popping up all the time.
Well, that's a good thing. You know, that's a great thing actually. You know, if you love acting and it's coming your way, well, those are the opportunities. You know.
Absolutely, and it's nice to just kind of be able to work both of these angles together. I have a lot of fun bringing animals onto set. I have a lot of fun acting in front of the camera. Either way, it's a win-win for me. Now, some of the animals are getting to be very difficult to find and or work with. I've been trying for about a month now to find a bear for a scene for a movie that's going to film later this year. And the way it's looking, that's gonna be a tricky one. I'm trying my best.
Bear, huh?
Yeah, and 20 years ago that would have been a piece of cake. It was easy. I knew a lot of people with bears. It would have been easy to do, but nowadays it's just tricky, with liability and animal rights and all that kind of stuff. It makes it very difficult. And of course, CGI has taken over a lot of that animal industry too.
Yeah. So Nicole's asking, have you ever been a snake wrangler on a movie set?
Well, I guess do you mean snake wrangler as in bringing snakes for the film, or snake wrangler as in they were filming in the desert and needed somebody to keep it safe? The first part, obviously, we just talked about. I've done that a lot. I have not actually had an opportunity to be one of the set wranglers that just essentially goes around looking for them to make sure nothing crawls onto the set. I have a lot of friends who have done that pretty regularly, even for shows like Yellowstone and a lot of popular movies, but I haven't yet had an opportunity to do that. So I happily I'd jump at that opportunity if it came about.
Right. I'm afraid. Oh yeah, I'm afraid of snakes. I'm going to lie about that. Listen.
Yeah, it's not.
Lots of people are scared of the smallest things. They can see a bear, they won't run away. They can see Bigfoot, they won't run away. But they see a mouse or a snake, and they doing 100 dash.
It's true.
How funny! I don't get it.
Seems almost everybody kind of has a something they're afraid of. For me, for the longest time, it was bees and wasps. Since I was a kid, I was terrified of those, which is kind of a weird irony. And I think that's how I got over it. Was I started thinking I'm trying to teach people to not so much fear things like rattlesnakes, just respect them. I worked with bears and lions and tigers and all that kind of stuff, and they didn't scare me, but the wasp starts flying around me, and I'd get kind of panicky. And I think I just realized how silly and hypocritical it sounded over time, to the point where I'm just like, okay, I'm going to learn about these animals more. And bees don't even scare me at all anymore. Once you realize they're pretty placid animals. Wasps, on the other hand, I still will swat them away and all that, but I've kind of really learned to keep myself calm in that presence, because a lot of people blow at them and all that CO2 you're expelling gets them even more excited, and it's a bad thing. So I learned that. So now it's just kind of gently swat at them with your hand. They're used to that. A lot of animals do it to them, and they're not exactly going to attack you because of it. So,
right. Was you a part, or any of your snakes were a part of the movie Snakes on the Plane?
No, unfortunately not. That seems like it would have kind of been a lot of fun. Even though, being somebody who tries to educate the public on animals in general, I like there to be some realism and some good advice going out there. So even in these movie roles, I haven't really had anything that was like super over the top, like Snakes on a Plane. They're when something, you tend to get hypercritical. So you're watching a movie and you see these non-venomous corn snakes, and then you hear the rattle sound going in the background. You're just like, oh, that's not that. Those aren't rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
And I believe Sparky talked about that, with the medical field, how she sees things on TV and movies, and she's like, oh man, this could have been so much better if we just XYZ, So she
Yeah.
wants to be a consultant, and I would love to do that too for snakes, just to make some of these scenes a little bit more realistic,
Right.
educational in their value, and not so crazy over the top like Snakes on a Plane or Anaconda or anything like that.
Right. Right. And I love Anaconda. It was a great film.
It was entertaining.
It was Amy. Nicole says she was in the movie back on the strip. I don't.
I saw that on IMDb. Again, I was only there for one day, so I didn't really get to meet too many of the people. But yeah, I did see that she was on that as well.
Yeah. So, what is it that you love most of the acting? Is it the acting? Um just being around the crew? Like, what do you love most of it?
Oh boy, that is a tough one to answer. Honestly, if you would ask me 10 years ago, hey, do you want to, be in movies? I probably would have been like, no, not really. Didn't interest me. I still don't have any illusions of grandeur, like I'm going to be, super famous or anything like that. Right now, I'm just kind of doing what I was coming
Having
my
fun.
way and having fun with it.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, and,
Yeah.
and that's what I enjoy. You get to learn these characters, you get to have a little bit of fun. It's something outside my wheelhouse a little bit. I mean, I have a lot of skills that have kind of just led me to this, anyways,
Right.
um, and experiences. So, yeah, I think really that's it. I'm just here to have fun at this point. It's not about making a living. Um, it's just about having a good time.
Right. I love it too. I have a great time doing it. Um, and I enjoy the filming, and I enjoy meeting people because I love people. I love meeting people. I love talking, conversating with people, and knowing what they do.
Yeah,
So
meeting people in this
yeah.
industry has been
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
great too. I gotta say, the majority of the people that I have met on all these various sets have just been really wonderful people. Not everybody, some people you have your day with them, and that's about the end of it. But a lot of them, we end up, Facebook friending. We end up conversating later on, and just form real friendships, and it's fantastic. So I do enjoy that aspect for sure, and the
Yeah.
travel.
Hey, John, I love it because you go to these different places and you meet so many people, and the more you travel and you go to these uh, movies and or premieres, those are other chances that you can get, for doors to open for you. Meeting directors and actors, or producers on set, or even if you're going to a premiere, you meet people. So that's what I love about it. Just meeting the people and getting cast for other projects, and challenging myself with different characters. You know, um, I always said, oh, my first movie was a gangster movie because I got, you got the look, you got the tattoos, you got the bikes, you got the cars, you got it. So um, that was my thing. But I would love to do a western movie. Definitely, I would love to do a army movie, right?
Yeah.
And army, I said army western, and what was the other one? Something like uh Mission Impossible.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, something that exciting. Those type of movies I would love to try and get to play someday in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. I've really kind of got sucked into this horror genre.
Horror.
And it works for me. The second film I was in, it's called Come Hang Over. It was kind of, that was a horror movie, and I get to do a fun scene, where do the jump scare and blood pouring out of your mouth, and all that kind of stuff. And everything since then has kind of been along those lines, kind of horror genre, more or less. And they're always fun. This Western's going to be a lot of fun coming up. And, I'm also going to be in the Cursed Waters coming up as a pirate. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun.
Wait, I know that movie, Chris Waters. Who's in
Yeah.
that? I think Elizabeth is playing in that movie.
She is. Yep.
Okay. And who else? So it's you, Elizabeth, and one more person that I saw is going to play in that film. I think it's Joe.
I'm not sure. I hope so.
It's somebody. It's another third person I saw that's going to play in that movie, and I can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, that one's going to be a lot of fun. I think that's just, again, right up my alley. It works with my look. It works with my persona. I'm completely willing to step out of my comfort zone. If I ever have to play a Law and Order show or something like that, I'm totally willing to do that. But at this point, I'm just kind of rolling with the look and with the genre at this.
So Sparky, she's playing in it as well.
Awesome.
That probably who I saw was Sparky that I saw.
I did not know that. That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to get a chance to hang out and have some fun.
Yes, congrats, Sparky. Congratulations.
I met Sparky there for the first time on Desert Fiends. And she's just such a bubbly, fun personality. This is all up her alley. She's going to have a great time with this. I did warn her, though, it is addictive. So after you do this once or twice, man, you get hooked. You want to get more and more involved in different projects.
Right. You do, and it's great to work with people that you worked before on sets. When you go to one set, but oh my God, that's Sparky. Oh my God, that's Warren. Like, you're like, okay, now I feel a little comfortable. I know people that, I worked with before in this film. So
it definitely does help, for sure. Helps you just feel more comfortable in the environment. Of course, I'm the type of person, after I'm in the environment for an hour, I generally feel comfortable anyways. I get along with people really well. So that's not really been a big issue for me, but it sure is nice to spend extra time with people that you do know and bring them in on other projects. There's definitely a few things in the works right now that once I get a better idea of where they're headed, I'll reach out to the people that I talk to on a regular basis that I think would fit a role really well and offer them parts as well. Fortunately, I've worked the production end of things a bit lately too. Again, it's just the skill sets that I've developed over time in my life, everything I've done, especially when you run your own business, you're used to, basically you are a production manager at that point. It's not a lot different than it is on a film set.
Right. You're right. What character would you love to play? If you, besides the characters that you get, you personally, what character you say, I would love to play this character one day in my life?
Oh man, that is a really tough one. Everything I've kind of done just kind of worked with me, and it was fun to do. But I can't really say that there's anything I've really thought of that it's like, oh my God, I need to do this. Right. I suppose along those lines, I think it would be a lot of fun to be in some kind of Star Wars film, even if it's just a fan film, not the actual. Yeah. I would love to be a Jedi. I think that would be a lot of fun. It would get to work a lot of skills that I've learned over time. I've been in martial arts. I've done some sword play. All that would just be, I think that'd be a lot of fun to be a Jedi. I would enjoy that greatly.
I think so too.
And I'm a nerd too, so that helps.
I didn't think of that. Like a Jedi. That would be so dope.
Right?
Yeah, Star Wars. What chapter? 56.
Something like that. Now I don't know. It's hard to keep track.
There's so many of them. uh, but yeah, I love horror movies uh, and action movies. Is one of my favorite things. Horror and action. Um, I love because I'm an action guy. I love to see the fighting. I love to see you know, all the other stuff that comes with it. Um, but if there was an opportunity, then and it came my way, I'm pretty sure I'd jump on it right away. As far as action, I
Oh
want to
yeah,
do
for sure.
I want to do an action movie so bad. But time will come. Time will tell, and if it comes my way, I'm gonna dive into it.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I actually think the action stuff is really fun too. I've only got to do a little bit of it. One of them was really fun recently in that movie Ghost. It was locally filmed, and I get to basically attack the cameraman. So he's a part of the movie. He doesn't speak. Um, but he's documenting everything that's going on in this movie. And as a cult member, I get to come out and attack him. So um, that was kind of interesting choreography because you're dealing with it's like I'm kind of attacking a person, but he's holding the camera, so you kind of have to work it, and
Mhm.
it was fun. I think it's going to turn out really really good. And I just found out that it's premiering here in Reno on July 1st.
Mm.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then it's going to come out on a few streaming services July 9th. So again, follow me on Facebook. All this stuff's going to be posted up as soon as it's available.
Yeah, I definitely want to see. Just send it to me. I post. I promote everything. You send it to me. I promote it. Put it on my page. That's what I do. You know.
Absolutely. I will do.
Yeah, and uh, just acting overall. It's it's been for me life changing, and it relaxes me. Believe it or not, when I know that I'm going to go do a film, I get into a stage like I'd be like, okay, I'm about to do this movie. I lay back, I read the script, and it just takes me to another world. When I'm reading the character, and it's like the opposite of me. you know, the character's opposite of me. I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to bring this character out, and I'm the total opposite of this character. And that's when the challenge come in. You know,
And the challenge is half the fun, honestly.
yes, yes, it is because I call my kids and drive them crazy. I've been like, I got to do this character. How did I do? Oh, you did. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. So I'm constantly like bringing out different characters to see which character fit the character that I'm trying to read. You know, uh,
Yeah, definitely. That's a huge part of this. Again, something I've learned in the last couple of years is taking the time to think about who this character is. Sometimes they give you better clues. Sometimes it's pretty vague, and you just kind of have to figure it out on your own. I just did a small thing it's a first time film for a guy, and he says, you have the look of, what I'm looking for what I'm calling the curator, kind of a narrator, almost like a Tales from the Crypt kind of a
mm,
feel where you come in, you talk a little bit, and then you get into the storyline. It's called The Spoken. I'm not sure when that's going to come out, but I asked him a bunch of questions. Obviously not enough because when I met with the acting coach, he was asking me questions. I'm just like, oh man, I should have asked. I didn't think of that. I put a lot of thought and effort into it, and when I did a lot of self film here at home and sent him the footage, and he was extraordinarily happy with it. He said it was exactly the character he saw in his mind's eye, and when things like that just work out, it's amazing.
wow. So, how many films have you played in so far?
Oh gosh, I don't even know now. I mean, it's
more,
not like it's a ton. I can't say
more
I
than
have like
five,
the.
more than five, maybe more than five, more than
Yeah,
six.
yeah, I'd say more than five. A lot of things haven't even come out yet.
Oh wow.
Um, and there's a number of them in the pipeline still for this year too. So
Okay. Yeah. Because
yeah.
no, I want to know because I want to. I want to check them out. Because I'm a big movie watcher. I sit on my couch and it got a dent right now. It goes like this. Because I lay on it so much, just watching movies. But yeah, I would love to know what movies you play so I can check them out and
Yeah,
post
on my IMDb page, I think
and
pretty much
share 'em.
everything I've done or been a part of is on there right now. Um, I think there's one or two that haven't even been listed on there yet, but yeah, that's what I would say is check that out or just shoot me a message. I'd be happy to, send you some recommendations of stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'll definitely tune in, and share it and promote it because people need to see your work.
absolutely.
People need to see your work and know what I I love animals, right? I truly do. Especially like exotic animals. I'm just afraid of a lot of them. I'm afraid of a lot of them. Like I love crocodiles, right?
Oh yeah.
I love them. Only on TV. Like if I went to Florida and I saw one and I didn't know which way to run, right? I never knew how huge they can be. I saw one at the zoo, must have been like 13 feet long. It was humongous. And I thought it was fake for a second because it was just sitting there. It wasn't moving. To something, I don't know if a kid threw a rock at the water and it hit and it just started moving. And I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, they're incredible.
They're humongous. And, so I like animals like that, definitely love some, I love monkeys, all types of monkeys. They're just so smart.
I have a picture I'll send you when we're done here. I was just at the local zoo here yesterday, and they had a young monkey that they'd bottle raised that was in the office. We were getting to kind of play with a little bit. So,
Okay. Yes, I love animals. And usually the ones that I love are the ones that I'm really, really scared of.
and that's okay. I tell people
Right.
that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can help somebody get over their fear, that's awesome. But more importantly is I want people to just learn to respect them. I mean, you don't have to not fear them. I mean, some of these animals can be dangerous for sure. So, a healthy respect for them is important. Don't expect you to just go up and cuddle a lion when you come across one, but
Right.
yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Of course, I'm not really afraid of much anymore these days. I've dealt with so many different animals and so many scenarios and all that I feel very comfortable in reading body language and all that and kind of knowing what they're thinking. So I can't say they really I fear them much anymore.
Right.
Hey, Joe. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm representing, kind of wearing something similar to what I was wearing on Desert Fiends. Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, to find my own super colorful wardrobe. I don't wear this every day, but
It looks good though. I like that.
yeah, I like it.
I like it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Joe. He just did a music video with Joe Castro.
Saw
Um,
that.
Big shout out
That's gonna
to
be amazing. Can't wait
yeah.
to see that.
I'm gonna start throwing everything in the house. Pots over here, clothes over there. I'm gonna get my wig, put my wig on. You know what I mean? Rock out.
You got to record that. We got to see that.
Yeah. So
we'll do a reaction video.
Are you born and raised in Las Vegas, or you're from California, or?
So, well, I was born in Texas, but the family moved out here to northern Nevada, up by Reno, when I was just a baby, basically. So that's where I was raised, is up in northern Nevada. But just because of everything I do, I've spent a lot of time in Las Vegas, especially the last couple of years, more time than I probably want to spend there. But
right.
yeah, I do travel all over the western states on a pretty regular basis, though. Again, doing the dog training. Next month we're going to be in Utah, Colorado, and Idaho, 3 weeks out of the month. So very busy time for me. But then I'm taking some extra time off in July to do the pirate movie. So that's going
I
to be a lot of
cannot
fun.
wait. I cannot wait to see that. You
Me
know,
neither.
yeah, like I love water. I just don't love the ocean. Okay.
It's going to be interesting because
Yes,
I know they're filming a lot on boats. So
that's why I want to watch it, because I want to see how deep y'all gonna go in, to film this. Because
right.
I I respect the ocean so much. It's another world. I call it another world, right? Because we don't know what's underneath it or what can come from underneath that water. Um, all we know is what they tell us and what we study in school about what could be underwater and volcanoes and all types of animals. But there is a surface that's deeper than what the man can see, that we don't know what's under there, and that's the scary part.
Yeah, it's scary and exhilarating at the same time. So we took a trip to Thailand the beginning of this year. I have a friend who lives there. We're kind of contemplating retirement there. But we did get to go to the ocean. It was the first time I got to snorkel in the warm ocean waters,
Oh
and
my God.
I mean it is another world. There's no denying that. The fish are so colorful. Even got to see a couple really cool snakes. We came across a
Oh wow.
crate that, if it wasn't so far down, I would have probably considered diving down to pick it up, but it wouldn't have
Wow.
been a good idea because they are highly venomous. But um,
Oh wow.
yeah, it is incredible. Eventually, we're planning to go back, in the next year or two to see if we can't maybe catch the whale shark migration and go swimming with the whale sharks. Um, yeah. So
I, I have to tell you, John, you got cojones, because I would not go into no water. Me knowing what's underneath the water, forget about it. You won't get me to put my toe in the water. Okay. Uh, I'm just like very. See, if I can't see something, then I know it's not, and I can't see it coming. Then I don't care what it is. I'm afraid of it. Okay, and you're snorkeling. You're looking for fish underneath the water. You don't know what's coming behind you. Like, when those sharks come, they come pretty fast. They move pretty fast, and that's my biggest fear going into the ocean. You know, um, doing anything, just riding on the boat. The boat turns off for any reason. I can be on the boat and I'm already scared, because I'm like, wow, what if a whale comes and push the boat over, or a big shark hits it? These are things going through my head, which my boys be like, man, that's probably one out of 100. I said, yeah, but we could be that 100.
I mean, it could happen. It's kind of funny with everything I do. A lot of people think, I must be like some kind of an adrenaline junkie or something along those lines. And, really, I don't, this stuff doesn't give me that adrenaline rush working with the animals. It's
Yeah,
not about that. For me, it's just that genuine, love and respect and joy of being around them and interacting with them. That's what really drives me to do these things. And I mean, yeah, there's risks involved with everything you do. Um, but there's also a lot of ways to mitigate those risks and minimize those risks.
right.
Just like, what I do with the dog training, everybody thinks, it's crazy. Oh, you work with rattlesnakes. It's like, the most dangerous thing I do is driving to and from a location. That's so much more dangerous than interacting with the animals at all. I'm far more likely to receive a dog bite than I am a snake bite. So,
Mm,
um, but again, there's ways you kind of work with it, you learn, you mitigate, and you know, can shit happen? Of course it can. We all know that it can, but I try not to let that hold me back.
right, right. I've always My oldest sister did some bungee, not bungee jump. I did bungee jumping. It scared me at first, but then I did it a couple times, but she skydived. And I said, I'm scared of heights. I said, that's never going to happen in my book. You know, she said, you will love the adrenaline rush that you get just knowing that you're flying like you're flying down, and all of a sudden you hit that and it just goes shoots you right up 15, 20 feet up. Boom. I said, I do that, my heart is gonna fall off my chest. I'll be a dead man by the time I hit the floor. I'll be dead. Okay. And so she's been trying to get me to go do some skydiving, and I've been avoiding it. I said, I got a show. I got a show. I can't go. I got a show. She's like, boy. She's like, boy, you ain't that famous that you got shows back to back to back to back.
Honestly, skydiving is definitely on my list of things to do. I have not done it yet. Now that will be an adrenaline rush. I already know that. I'm not opposed to doing it. I do want to try it. Again, you only live once. You might as well make the best of it. Bungee jumping too. I would totally do that if the opportunity kind of came about. And who knows? Maybe I just need to take the time and make the opportunity.
Yes, the adrenaline is off the hook.
Yeah,
bungee jumping is off the hook. But there's another one that I've seen. I don't know what it's called. You might know what it's called. But this one, I seen it on a documentary. Was it a documentary I saw? Or History Channel, one of them. But this is like totally off the rack. The guy's in a big mountain. I don't even know how high. I know that the clouds were like barely touching his head. And he jumped off the mountain, right? He jumped out and then he opened his hands and his feet, and it was like a cat suit, but it had like wings and stuff. And this dude was flying through the mountains like, whoo, whoo. I'm like, holy crap. Nothing holding him, and he just flying through mountains, going through gaps. I forgot what that's called.
I'm not sure what that's called either, but I've seen it also. And yeah, that looks like a lot of fun. Terrifying, but fun.
Yeah, can you imagine the adrenaline going?
Oof, no.
and you're going through a mountain, like you're flying like this. He went like this, and he gained more speed. He was like going down, and then he opened up, and he was like a plane, like he was maneuvering himself, as he was flying. And he must have been going 200 miles per. It was so fast.
Wow.
And yeah, and then so he went down, and he was going miles. I'm like, how is this dude doing this? Miles, and then to stop, he had like a parachute. He hit it, boom, and it slowed him down. So but I would love to try. I would love to try it, but I won't. But I'm very afraid of it. I'm scared.
Yeah, I'd definitely have to take some time and look into, I got to imagine there's a lot of training that goes into doing something like that, even more so than, skydiving. But yeah, who knows? I mean, I try to keep my mind open to any opportunity that comes about. So, yeah, that would be incredible.
Wow. So let me ask you, what inspiring message can you give any young lady or young brother that wants to get into managing rattlesnakes or reptiles? What would you tell them to look out for?
Really, I think the number one thing is to educate yourself beforehand. Again, like I said, I got lucky that I had a mentor. I still don't know to this day why he decided to take me under his wing and teach me the things he did when I expressed interest. I'm extraordinarily thankful for it. But if you're just wanting to get into reptiles in general, like the non-venomous stuff, there's a lot of people out there you can talk to nowadays with the advent of social media. It's so much easier than it was when I was coming up in the day, when I actually had to go to the library and rent books and try to meet people through the grapevine and actually pick up a phone and talk to them. And it was definitely a different world back then. It's so much easier now. But I think the most important message is tell people, sometimes you just need to take a step back and do your research before you just jump in head first. If it's something like venomous reptiles, you definitely got to do that with a lot more diligence. Um,
Right.
I've been very fortunate that I had the guidance I've had, that I just have the type of personality I have. Um, I tend to be very cautious and thoughtful about working with these. 35 years and knock on wood, haven't been bit yet. So,
Right. Right.
um, you know, uh, I think it's especially with venomous, you really just need to find somebody and learn from them to start. That's a really difficult thing to self-teach yourself.
Right. Yeah.
You can watch all the YouTube videos you want all day. It's not going to put you in the type of scenario and mindset that you need to do with something, that could be potentially deadly. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I've been researching because I want to go to New Hampshire. New Hampshire's next to where I live at here on the East Coast, and it's close to Canada too. Canada is
right.
so it's Canada, New Hampshire, Maine, and then Boston, and then the East Coast. So I've been researching Bigfoot. I'm a big fan of Bigfoot, and I want to try to go this summer to New Hampshire and just kind of talk to the locals to see if I can hear any type of stories of Bigfoot, any sightings and stuff like that. Um, I really want to go into the woods, but I'm afraid that if I go into deep and anything happens, I won't make it back out of there. Because I can't run. I got bad ankles. I said, listen, as long as I got a dirt bike or a four wheeler, a Banshee, got to be a Banshee, got to be a 3-stroke 350 so I can really move. Uh, then I'll go up to the woods, and they have to be tracks. If there's no tracks, I'm not going up there. So I've been a big fan of Bigfoot. I've been a big fan of animals, snakes, bears, and that's all up there in New Hampshire. So I really want to do that this summer. I'm gonna try to head out there. I'm gonna see if I can find some people to go up in a group. Just in case we do get chased, I can feed somebody while I run. I can push somebody back, say, hey, you fight Bigfoot while I go get help. You
Yeah,
know what I
for
mean?
sure. Yeah, so there was a local movie here, actually the same director that did Ghost that I was just in, called Tahoe Joe. I recommend you check it out.
Okay.
Um, and hopefully I'll get to be a little bit a part of Tahoe Joe 2 that's potentially in the works here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a Bigfoot kind of found footage type of movie. I think you'd really enjoy that, and yeah, definitely look forward to seeing your adventures with doing that. Be sure to bring a camera and
Oh yeah.
document it. It's going to be incredible.
That's all I got in here is cameras.
Right.
Yeah, bring some cameras. Bring some cameras. Bring a couple guns, because
Oh yeah, you
run.
definitely got to protect yourself.
I got to shoot my way out of there, boy. you know, but it's amazing. You know, uh, to be an actor that you can play so many different characters and kind of like for me to find myself. Like I played a character one time, and I said, man, I'm reading the character, and I said, kind of like reminds me of me in some way, somehow, some certain things that this character was going through and doing. I said, man, it's kind of like my life, you know. Uh, so playing the character wasn't too hard to play because it was something that I lived, you know, and so it made it much more easier for me to play the character, and I love it, because when you're doing it, you don't really see how good you do. You just hear
Sure.
people saying, "John, you did great," but in your head, you're like, "Did I really do great?" you know, I
That's always
kind of
there.
right. I think I tweaked off a little bit, but then when you go see the movie and you're sitting there and you're watching yourself, you're like, "Wow, you know, I'm impressed." I
Yeah.
did great. And sometimes you can see your flaws there too. You say, well,
True.
maybe I can do this a little better on my next run. You know, because I've spoken to some actors and some of them be like, "Oh, I never watched my movies. I've never seen them," and which I say is cool. But for me, my opinion, I would love to see my movie. I would love to see how I perform because it's only going to sharpen me more, you know, because now I'm looking at myself and I can say, okay, I didn't like the way I did that. I could have done this different, or I could have gave a different expression when I said this line, So I learned from it.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that. I've heard that too about some actors saying, "Oh, I don't watch movies I'm in," and I don't know. To me, that seems kind of strange because I
Right.
want to see everything I've done. And for me, I feel like, yeah, you're exactly right. That's how you grow. In fact, even when I was doing some of the self-filming here, I was watching back the different videos and looking at the first one I did to the last one I did hours later was just totally different because as I watch it, I'm like, oh, I can do this better. And that's a beauty of movie magic is that,
Mhm.
you have some of that. Whereas, if you're theater in front of people, you mess up, it's done. There's no taking it back. But in front of a camera, in front of, filming a movie, there's a lot of leeway in that. And it's easy to retake and retake and retake again
Right.
and until you get it right.
Right.
um, and I really like that because it allows me to, again, like you said, grow.
Right. Right.
You learn something every time you do something new. You're learning something from it,
Right.
and you just carry that on to the next one.
Right. And working with different groups is also important too because you might have a director or producer like Nicole and Sean that will really lay back, you know, and if you have to take two, three, four takes, it wasn't a problem because they were looking for a certain shot. But you might get into a production company where the director might not be that cool, and he's like, well, time is money. You're wasting here. We could take him 5 shoots, and we don't took 5 takes, and you still ain't got it. What's going on here? So that gets you nervous. So now you be
It does.
like, I messed up 5 takes. I'm gonna mess up 10 more now that I'm nervous, and you came at me like that. So I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be able to do it now.
Yeah, it definitely takes all types. I've done a couple of the animal things where the directors were, I don't know, terrified of the snakes and kind of kept barking orders to the other people in the scene, and
Right.
to the point where I actually had to kind of step in and say, you hired me to do this job. I'm not going to put anybody's safety in danger.
Okay.
Just let me do my job. They're cutting scenes early because, oh, the snake's too close. It's like, no, the snake is perfectly fine.
Right.
And
Right.
and then of course, yeah, the other end too, where they get a little annoyed. I haven't seen that too much. I haven't had that too much, fortunately. I think just once where they had to do a few extra takes just because we were on the time crunch, and it was the second time I'd ever been in front of the camera, and I didn't really have a script or anything. It was kind of a little bit of improv with a little bit of direction, and I just wasn't nailing it right off the get go, and it was a little frustration, a little tension in there, but it all worked out in the end. So
Yeah, that's how it matters. As long as it works out, and and that's what I loved about Sean, John. That you know, John gave you that. Well, he gave me and a few other people the opportunity to improv, and
right.
so what I loved about it, he said, "Okay, here's the line. This is what you're gonna say." Right? I did my line. I said what I had to say. They shot it. Then he said, "We're gonna do another one. This time I want you to improv at the end." Man, that made me feel so good when he said that because I already had ideas in my head that I can do right after I finish that line. And in my head, I'm like, wow, if I do this, it's going to be even funny, because I'm going to add this to it. And he said, improv. I said, man, you just gave me the magic word, boy. And so I did my line and then I started improvising afterwards. And I just started making up stuff. And the two other actors that I was with were going along with what I was saying. So everything fit perfect. And Sean was like, "Yeah, that's the take that." And I felt good, and the other guys felt comfortable too because, they were like, "Man, that was good. That was good." The ending that we added that in, and I was like, "Yeah." So directors that work like that, that give you that space to also create more to your character. It's amazing because you never know what's going to come out.
Yeah, and then I did like that a lot with Sean. Basically, like I said, we did what was scripted, and then we just kind of started adding things and improving at the end, and that was actually kind of a lot of fun there. Where Sparky wasn't actually even intended to be in that scene, but she was there. He's like, "Hey, jump on in and do it." And then she asked me a question. Again, I don't want to say too much to ruin the
Yeah,
scene, but she asked a question that was just, I mean, I was kind of thinking this question in my own mind too, but I didn't
yeah,
have an answer for it. So all of a
right,
sudden I'm having to like improv, come up with an answer. And
right.
I think it just flowed. And I think the beauty of, improv is it's more genuine.
It is. It is.
When you're trying to recite a script,
Mhm.
sometimes, man, the first time I did it, and
Right,
then that kind of goes back to that other story where, I just wasn't quite nailing it because it comes across as you either reading or trying to remember and say the words in the script.
right,
Whereas when you start improving, this is you. This coming from your brain. It
right.
just flows better. And if you're with the right people,
Yeah,
you can just make a whole scene right out of that alone because you're just
that's
playing
right.
off each other. It's not scripted. It's real life, and
Yeah,
it just comes across so much more genuine, I think. So
yeah,
I really appreciate that. I think Sean sees that because I've seen him do that with multiple people
yeah,
throughout the whole process. He was an absolute pleasure to work with.
yeah.
Never made you feel uncomfortable. Never
No,
made you feel
never.
unwelcome.
Nobody
Um,
lived it.
yeah, it was incredible. And he even mentioned a couple things that he'd like to see, me work with some other people that he said I remind of, and I'm really hoping that that comes to fruition at some point, and we get to do that.
That's awesome. I live in the East Coast. I mean, there's stuff going on here, stuff, but LA and Las Vegas is like where you need to be for filming. I mean, it's a lot of filming going on out there, like back and forth, back and forth,
Nonstop.
nonstop. And I'm in the wrong spot. I'm in Boston. I'm in Boston. And I've auditioned for some. It's just so hard out here to get into a film, and because you got to know people, you know.
Helps.
Out here, what I've seen and here in Boston is that you got to know people because I went to an audition one time and people were auditioning. There was this one guy that he nailed it. Like this guy nailed it to the top, and then the other guy he wasn't as good, but because he knew people, he got the part.
Oh.
And when I saw that, I was like, man, I definitely ain't got an opportunity. I said, here's the script. I'm going home. I'm gonna give me a burger. I see how this is going. Forget about it. Okay. So there's a lot of that going on here in Boston. So it's very hard to get into some projects out here. Because it's kind of like out here, it's like a family thing. They try to work with the teams that they already have put together, and so when you come in as a new person or as a new actor, they don't know nothing about you, so they don't know how you're going to perform. So it's like you're in the air. So they'll give you that opportunity and see how you perform. If you perform good, and if they like you too, because you can be a good performer, but if they just don't like you as a person, then you're not. You're out just because they don't
That's
just because they don't like you for whatever reason because you wear a nice hat, you got a nice beard, and and they were like, no, well, we don't like him. Okay. Next
And
guy.
I mean, that happens. I mean, I think that really is just the case in real life, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's always going to kind of come into play. So, just try to be a genuine person. I try to give everybody a chance. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't jive with everyone. It's just
Right.
fact. No matter what you do, I don't like to be fake, so I'm not going to,
Right.
if somebody I just not jiving with for whatever reason, I'm not going to really go out of my way to make it seem like I'm trying to be friends or anything like
Right.
that.
Right.
But as for the most part, I get along with just about everybody because of that. I think being genuine is important, and kind of along the lines of what you're saying, I think just developing those friendships along the way is huge. Even if you don't get a role, I try not to take that personally,
Yeah. Yeah.
and still keep in touch with the people and talk
Mhm.
to them and offer to help. I was doing that, on Desert Fiends.
Yeah.
I was there for, what was I there, 5 days, 6 days.
Yeah.
My scene was, what was it, a couple
After my
hours on
scene.
one day. The rest of the time I was just there offering, hey, what can I do to help?
Yeah. That's it.
And I think that's important because people can see that
Yeah.
you're willing to do your part and then some, go above
And
and
then,
beyond.
that's right.
I have no problem, going out and getting somebody sandwiches or doing anything like that.
Right. Right.
And so I think all those things are really important to kind of build those relationships, and then of course, like you said, those relationships end up carrying you into things later on.
Yes. And that's why I love this family. The Desert Fiend family, because everyone was looking to help. Nobody was slacking. Everybody was in motion. Everybody was trying to, are you okay? You need anything? No, I'm fine. You walk over there. Hey, you need anything? Or yeah, I need to carry this out. And I saw that. I was like, wow, this is an amazing cast. Like, this is so dope. Everybody is no no negativity, no bad energy from nobody. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah,
This
that was
is
pretty incredible for sure.
incredible. Yes, Nicole, Nicole, she was everywhere. She was like Flash Gordon. You turn your face, she's there. You turn back, and she's gone. But and her husband Kev is amazing, and
Yeah.
Joe Collins is also. They held it down, and so did we, doing what we did. As far as acting and helping out and whatever we could too. So everyone was helping out, and I seen that, and I loved it. And that's what I missed the most is the love that was there, and the friendship that people would just burst. Everybody was just throwing love, like throwing love in the air, and I love that. And people
Yeah.
from Canada, you're from there, I'm from Boston. There was people from all over different states in this film, and everyone performed fabulous.
I thought so too. Even people who were coming in, quite green, like this is my first time doing this.
Yes.
I really think that vibe, that energy, makes people feel comfortable and just settle into their roles and do what they got to do. And yeah, I am so looking. I don't think I've ever looked more forward to a premiere of a movie than I am this one right now.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know when the premiere is, but I've
Yeah,
also heard, we've heard for the second sequel. Um,
right.
depending on how this one goes, Sean might do a second part to this. So that'll be great, for other people to have opportunities, to be a part of something, and and for other ones to come back. Those that didn't die in the film can come back for part two. Um, I think that'll be great.
Yeah, well, I can't say too much, but coming back, even as something different,
Yeah.
would be fantastic. So
Oh, yeah. Definitely. That definitely will be amazing.
might just
So,
have to, be an alien or a monster or a mutant or something.
hey, be a mutant, and your head turns into a rattlesnake.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
No, I know you are.
That would be awesome.
Where's Sean? I don't know, but he's rattling over there. You gotta go get him.
Get a lot of people rattled, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, um, what's next for you? What's your next project?
So, oh boy, what is coming up next? I'm going to be busy traveling for work for the next 2 months.
Right.
Um, I'm trying to remember if there is anything else in the next 2 months. I don't believe so. But then, yeah, Cursed Waters coming up is going to be by far the biggest, I think, project for me yet that I've been involved in. And then I do have that Western also coming up in July. Um, well, actually, come to think of it, I was chatting with Riley, who I met on scene there at Desert Fiends, and he's working on a project that he invited me out for. I still just got to find out if I can get away for a couple days and fly out there and do it. I'm thinking I might be able to. It's kind of looking like it'll work out, and with a busy schedule and a business and all that, it makes it kind of tricky. There's a lot of things I'd love to be involved in, but I just can't due to time constraints. But yeah, so I think that would probably actually be my next project, would be that one. I don't know a lot about it yet, but I'll find out soon.
Right, right. Give me 1 second. Let me open.
Certainly.
Let me let my son in. What's up, baby boy? You know the vibes. So, is there any shout outs that you want to give out to any friends or anything like that?
Oh boy, that could take a while. I think we've given a lot of shout outs to the whole Desert Fiends cast and crew and everybody. So but yeah, definitely thankful for that opportunity. I'm really having a lot of fun working with the local people. There's Horror Dads Productions, also Horror Nerds Productions, kind of same here. That one, they're a fantastic group of local people, and he does actually one thing that I like that he does is he recruits veterans. It kind of gives them an acting outlet, even though these people might not have ever thought of acting. And they're may not have any formal training or anything like that. He gives them an outlet to express themselves, and because we all know how terrible some of the things people have gone through because of that. So that makes me more encouraged to like working with them too, because everybody's just a real person, a genuine real person. I have to give a shout out to Alvin Gray, who kind of gave me my first on-screen appearance. And again, Alvin's an amazing person. He is so much fun to work with. It's a lot of fun to see him in the desert because he's a city boy from Baltimore, and kind of like how you describe yourself. Everything that moves out in the desert, he's just kind of freaked out about. It's a lot of fun to mess with him along those lines. But the fact that he actually wants to come back to our community and film a part two, I think that says a lot. And the fact that he's willing to involve a lot of the people that were involved in the original is amazing. And really just to everybody else, like I mentioned, Riley, thank you for kind of reaching out to me, sharing some industry stuff with me to kind of help me make better choices and what to be a part of and not, and allow me to be a part of, his creative process as well. I think that's kind of about it. And then, of course, I know not everybody has the same sentiment, but, the Mahals have been actually really fantastic to talk with and work with. Getting into Cursed Waters is just going to be, I don't know, to me, I feel like that's going to be a highlight. That's going to be a hard one to beat. So
I can't wait.
Yeah, me neither. I'm looking really forward to that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys. Someone be like, I know John, I know Elizabeth, I know Spanky, I know almost all the cast in this movie. So I'm gonna be excited just to see you guys in action. You
Yeah,
know.
for sure. And then, who knows what else is going to come down the pike? I mean, I've got ideas in my head that have been there for a long time. I might try to, see if I can't round up a few people and then maybe make some shorts. I don't know that anything's like feature film worthy at this point, but, maybe with the right people to collaborate with, it can become that. I have a lot of ideas, and who knows where it'll all lead.
Right. Yeah. I want to talk to Mike Gilando.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Trying to do something with an action movie. See what we can do with an action movie. You know. So yeah. So the good thing is that we all working. We all working.
Right.
We all got ideas, and we all know people that can make things happen in our circle. And whoever decides to do a project, meaning you, me, whoever, we have all the resources that we need as far as actors and help if we need, and guidance to make our films the best it could be. So
Absolutely.
that's the good thing about this. But I want to definitely thank you for coming to the show. Um, when I come to Vegas, I'm definitely gonna come look you up because you're gonna have to show me the snakes, even if I'm 20 feet away from you. We'll make it work, okay? But
We, 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 we can arrange that.
yeah,
Definitely.
I'm a big listen. If I'm a big animal advocate. I wish I can do what you do, but I'm just afraid of it. I'm just afraid of the snakes. You know what? I'd rather pet a baby bear before I get close to a snake. Okay, they just look so scary, and like they can betray you at any second. You
Yeah,
know,
like anything, you just gotta learn them and got to get to know them, and then things that are scary just aren't so scary anymore when you learn about them. So,
right.
and I could help you with that.
Cool, cool. Well, thank you for coming on the show, John. John, and I will bring you back in the future. We're gonna let you get some more projects under the belt, so we can talk about some
Absolutely.
more films. When you get a chance, send me whatever films you played in, so I can check them out on my Tubi. And also promote it on my devices so people can see what you're doing.
Sounds great. I certainly will. I really appreciate the opportunity, and thanks
Always,
for making the time for me.
always, man. This is what I do. So thank you for coming on the show, John. I'll talk to you soon, and good luck with your business and your snakes. And I can't wait to see you in the movie.
Same. We'll see you at the premiere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Ciao.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Yes, yes, folks. You already know the vibes. That was John. Make sure you guys follow him on his page on Facebook, John Potash, and this is what it's all about, people. Creating new friends, creating a new family, and it doesn't matter where you at, where you from, as long as you create, a good circle, you got good vibes, good energy, um, and you leave in good terms, man. People will open doors for you, and get you work. Um, so just stay focused, man. Stay riding 100%. Don't take a left, don't take a right. Stay on that road. You feel me? Follow your dreams, and until you succeed. All right. With that being said, I'm gonna let you guys go. My son's in the building, and I'll see y'all next week. I got some more guests coming on next week. I'll let you guys know who they are when they come aboard. And with that being said, love you guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace, love, respect.